Alright, what's up? I am Doc Russo Jr. I am the admin of the Week in Exco discussion group, and this is my after hours breakdown. So, with this breakdown, I'm actually going to be doing two other videos. I'm separating this into kind of a three-part series kind of thing, in which I actually break down the album, and I actually believe that the songs in the album can be broken down into three separate portions, or three different portions, so to speak. Now, the first portion, or the first part of the album, which I will be breaking down in this video, is called The Attempt. And the reason why I call it The Attempt is because The Weeknd, he's not completely done with relationships or a romantic relationship, or at least the idea of it. And I feel like he really emphasizes that point in this first part. The second part that I'm releasing the second video of this breakdown is called The Return, in which I feel like the songs in that part of the album, or that portion, is where he's pretty much the Weeknd that we know and love. You already know what that Abel is. Now the third part, which will be the last part, is what I call the Revelation. Now this part, which will be in the other video, the third video, this portion of the album is what I call, I already told you, the Revelation. And in this portion, he kind of comes into terms with who he is, and he accepts who he is. I'll elaborate more on those points when I actually start breaking down those songs. And also, as a disclaimer, a couple disclaimers actually. First off, this is just my interpretation, so kind of is what it is, and how I kind of took in the album, or take in the album every time I listen to it, which is a lot. Another thing is, I don't have this stuff memorized off the top of my head, so I'm going to occasionally keep looking down to read some of my bullet points that I have for this video. And with that being said, I'm going to start the review, or breakdown. So, part one, The Attempt. So it starts off with his song, his song, Alone Again. Now, on this song, Abel is free. He's him. He's taking off that mask. He's taking off that disguise. He's the Abel that we know, you know? And he's in Vegas, as he emphasized in the song. He's in an environment that he feels suits him, you know, the environment where relationships is non-existent. Drugs are everywhere. People that live the lifestyle and want the lifestyle and kind of embody the lifestyle of himself is there, and pretty much the nightlife is 24/7. And really, he's saying within like the first portion of the song, he's saying, hey, I'm here when I'm everywhere else, or whenever I'm not here, and when I'm around this particular person or particular romantic encounters or relationships that I have, I'm not who I am. I'm not who I really am. I put on this facade, I put on this disguise, this mask, and I pretend to be somebody that I'm not. And maybe I suffer. Maybe I'm suffering on the inside. This is my escape. That's what he's saying. That's pretty deep too. Now the second part of the song, he's not against the idea of a romantic encounter. He's not against the idea of an actual relationship. Because at the end of the day, he does feel alone. This lifestyle does make you feel alone at times. And pretty much what he's doing in the second portion of the song is he's having encounters with call girls, so to speak, and he's doing what he can to procrastinate and kind of keep them around him because he doesn't want to be alone. He's still in tune with the idea of being in a relationship. And that leads right into Nothing Compares. Now in this song Nothing Compares, he's back home and he's talking about how he's trying to make this relationship between him and a particular lover work. You know, he's trying to kick his addiction. Yeah. And really in this song, Nothing Compares, when you really think about it, you really listen to those words. This man, I tell you, oh boy, when you really listen to those words and what he's saying, he's pretty much polluting her mind. He's saying, I'm the only one that you're gonna love. I'm the only one that's gonna love you, or not love you. I'm the only one that's gonna look at you this way. I'm the only one that's gonna accept you. He's polluting her mind. He's playing with her. He's mentally manipulating her in a song Nothing Compares. And he's also kind of wooing her in with some of his weasel words like, oh yeah, I won't get high. I try my best. I try my best not to get high. He never said he won't. He said, I try my best not to get high. And pretty much he's dragging her down to his level. And he's going to manipulate her mentally to get her to this level. And that's the only way that he can continue. That's the only way that he can kind of compatibly, I don't know if that's a word, but really that's the only way that he can kind of continue to live that idea of a romantic relationship and love is by manipulating this woman or similar women and taking advantage of them and kind of almost coercing them into being with him or staying with him at least, because as he tells them, he's the only one that's going to look at him that way. If they leave him, they're nothing. And then we lead into It's Too Late, or Too Late. Now in that song, and I tell you, this man, it's amazing what he gets away with. Now in this song, Too Late, he's talking about how he can't be saved. He's talking about how he can't be saved. The thing that really gets me about that is really throughout the song, Too Late, he's saying, I made mistakes, I did you wrong, I did this, I did that, I. But when he gets to the hook, it's way too late to save our souls. So essentially he's saying, yeah, I screwed up, I did this, I did that, I did all this stuff. He's admitting to it. And pretty much he's saying everything short of an apology. Because he's not going to apologize for anything that he's done. Anything that he's going to do. He's pretty much saying, I can't be saved. And all this stuff, I screwed up. However, it's too late to save our souls. As in, it's too late to save you too. You're already polluted by me. You're stuck with me. Nothing else. You're stuck with me. I know this is not on After Hours, but just like he says in House of Blooms, you belong to me. You belong to me. Now, this leads you into this other song, Hardest to Love. Very underrated. Now, in this song, he continues his mistakes, but he also woes his lover once more. Meaning he also kind of persuades her to stay with him once again. As you can see, this is kind of a common theme in this part or this portion called The Attempt. And really, this is kind of a common theme through the entire album where he says, oh, I'm going to be with you. I'm gonna stay with you. Look at all this potential. Trilogy. Look at all this potential, but his actions doesn't match his words. And this woman or lover, for whatever reason, could be coercion, could be mental manipulation, could be a desire. This woman stays with him, or at least keeps accepting him. Now, in this Hardest to Love, it's kind of like I believe he emphasizes a little bit more. Kind of shows why she goes back to him, and it's more so because he has small to him, but he has kind of like small gestures, or he does things, certain gestures that kind of gives her hope that he wants a relationship. Like when he says, "This house I bought is not a home. Together we are so alone," all that stuff. The small gesture could be just him buying a home, and maybe she's thinking, "Oh, he bought a home, and it's not a home without her." So that gesture, she's probably thinking, "Oh, he bought a home. We're together somewhat. Maybe he wants to settle down and have a family, or lead a family life, become a family man." But he continues to do what he does. But in the song "Hardest to Love," it kind of lets you more into her mind, or at least through his words and through his actions, it kind of, in my opinion, lets me more into her mind. Or maybe what she sees in him is those certain gestures that he does and certain little things that kind of gives hope to her. Kind of gives her some hope that, yeah, maybe he might change. You know, he's etching towards it, or towards it. Now the last song on this portion, or this part one, is "Scared to Live." I love this song. Very underrated, in my opinion. Now, "Scared to Live," this is essentially his final apology. Now, what I feel like happened, and what I think happened, or at least from me kind of reading in between the lines in this first portion, or this first batch of songs, is that she finally kind of got the courage to leave him. She said, "I'm gone. Goodbye." And he's finally apologized. He's saying sorry. He's saying, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it," or "I did mean to do it, but I won't do it again." He's telling her how much, pretty much, he's empathizing with her struggle, empathizing with her plight. And obviously, we all know the line, "If I held you back, at least I held you close." So pretty much he's saying, "I took you down with the ship. When that ship was sinking, I took you down with me. But at least I took you with me." That's what he's saying. He's saying, "Hey, I took you down that path, and it's because I love you." So he's still being that kind of sly dog, that kind of, but he's saying it in a nicer way. You know, somewhat of it's Abel's apology, his way of apologizing. But another line that really sticks out to me in the song is when he says, "Refuse to be the one who taints your heart." That right there, I feel like that might have been the one that really pulled her back for this last time. So he said, "I refuse to be the one who taints your heart." And essentially what he's saying is, hey, I don't want to be your last love. I don't want to be the one that keeps you from loving, which is in essence the song. I don't want to be the one that makes you scared to live, or scared to live again, scared to live your life. I don't want to be that one. That's what he's saying. And honestly, I think that might have been the line that got her back. I'm kind of just jumping. I know I'm jumping all the way to the other part, so y'all probably don't know what the heck I'm talking about. But you'll see as the other videos come out where I'm kind of blatant to. Yeah, I believe that's the line that really got her back. Is I refuse to be the one who taints your heart, because that's a very powerful line. I know we all get caught up with that. If I held you back, at least I held you close, which I love that line too. It's like this one right here. I feel like that line is probably one of my favorite lines on the album. I think that might be one of his deepest lines on this album, in my opinion, because it shows like he had a lot of effort, and that kind of puts a huge emphasis on part one of this album. The attempt is in which he still has the belief. He still wants to put an effort into this thing called love. He still wants to put an effort into the idea of love, into the idea of he still wants to put he still wants to pretty much he still wants it. At least the idea of it. He still likes the idea of it. And I'm not a woman, so I don't know. But maybe that's something that if a guy's apologized, that'd be something that they're like, oh shoot. When he says, I refuse to be the one who stops you from living, who stops you from loving anyone else, that's deep. And it really makes me think of Tears in the Rain, that album, or that song. Makes me think of that. This song in particular makes me think of that, because in that song he's kind of a piece of crap too. The song's amazing, but the character, he's kind of a piece of crap in that song, and just letting her go, you know. But yeah, it's part one. I have two other parts coming. This is part one, the attempt, and kind of just to sum it up. He had Alone Again, Nothing Compares, Too Late, Hardest to Love, and Scared to Live, and that sums up this part one, which was the attempt, in which he's still sold, or he's still kind of yarning or yawning, and he's still coming, or he's still wanting to invest. That's a better word. He's still wanting to invest himself in this thing called love and into a romantic relationship. And though through this part, he's kind of coerced this woman, or these particular women, to kind of get that feeling, or at least that facade of love, or that type of thing. He's still attempting. He's still in love with the idea. And the other thing that I will mention is Alone Again. Alone Again is actually, even though I put it first, Alone Again is actually the lyric for that and the actual song. It's something that I feel can be placed in multiple spots on this album. I'll place on the first one. I placed it in part one, the attempt, for a particular reason, which I told you, that he's still invested in the idea of love and a romantic relationship. But this will also come up in future parts of this breakdown. Thank you for listening. Once again, I'm Doc Russo Jr., the admin for the Weekend Exco discussion group. Thank you.